One of the first things we have to do is get the people off the street that are targeting us. Period. Period.
On Tuesday, September 20th, 2022, two families' lives were drastically changed. 19-year-old Paige Torregano's life was cut short as she and a friend waited at the 7100 block on Chef-Mentor Highway at a tire station to get a tire serviced. As the two young women sat in a car, 4 gunmen came out, firing over 50 rounds of bullets into the vehicle, instantly killing Paige and critically injuring her friend. Paige's friend, who is also the niece of Oliver Thomas, a councilman in New Orleans, is currently in the hospital fighting for her life.
19-year-old was gunned down in the middle of the day, and now her friends and family come together to remember her and demand justice.
Paige Torregano was shot and killed earlier this week outside of a tire shop, and tonight her family held a vigil at Joe Brown Park. David Jones reports.
You have an angel, and my angel called Paige.
She was a sweetheart. She was a sweetheart. To know her is to love her.
We thank God for her memories. We thank God for her life.
Just in life, an all-around genuine sweet soul.
Nobody knows, but God knows.
Remembering 19-year-old Paige Torregano, a loving daughter, hard worker, her mother, Kimberly Gentry, is still processing.
It's like my heart literally was ripped out of my chest.
Torregano was killed on Tuesday afternoon, gunned down outside of a Plum Orchard tire shop off Chef-Mentor Highway. 4 men fired more than 50 rounds into the sedan she was sitting in with her friend, the niece of City Councilman Oliver Thomas, who's still hospitalized with critical injuries.
I was at work and I got the call, but when I got there, no one ever told me she passed. They told me she was at the hospital, but she still was inside of the car when I got there.
Her mother describes Paige as a devoted worker. She pulled the overnight shifts and did hair on the side.
Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. It's horrible. Like, mothers are losing their kids. It's bad. You can't even drive in your car.
I just sat there in disbelief, and I was actually on the phone on a conference call, and I just kept saying, not Paige, this can't be Paige, this can't be Paige.
Gina Allen was Paige's manager and a longtime family friend.
Well, hearing this happening to Paige and the way it happened, it's like, who's going to help us? Who's here to help us?
Allen says it was the nature of the killings that disturbed her the most. In broad daylight, with onlookers, she questions whether the city is lost.
So the way that this happened was some stuff you hear about happening in Mexico with a cartel. Not in broad daylight in a populated metropolitan city in the United States with police and police cameras and people out and about.
I'm never going to be able to see my child get married. I'm never going to be able to see my child have a child.
Another young life lost to gun violence.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Again, this happened in broad daylight with onlookers watching. Detectives are asking anyone with information to come forward. You can contact NOPD, and remember, you can remain anonymous and call Crime Stoppers. That number, 504-822-1111.
The senseless murder of Paige comes just days before New Orleans is classified to be the murder capital of the United States. New Orleans has overtaken St. Louis as the murder capital of America, as the city sees a 141% increase in homicides when compared to recent years.
Shootings that happened at 2 tire shops, one overnight in Tremé, the other happened Tuesday afternoon in New Orleans East. And today, we've learned one of the victims is the niece of New Orleans Councilman Oliver Thomas. WDSU News reporter Shay O'Connor joins us live from NOPD headquarters with the very latest on both of these shootings. Shay?
Travis, that's absolutely correct. Now, just weeks ago, Councilman Oliver Thomas says that's the one thing that he fears every time he shows up on a crime scene, that it is a family member. Well, this week, his fears became reality. His niece is currently fighting for her life at an area hospital after being shot at the tire depot along Chef-Mentor Highway in his district.
And what happened to the rules about women? Why are these cowards killing so many of our young women?
Councilman Oliver Thomas holding back tears. His niece was one of two women shot in broad daylight Tuesday afternoon at a tire shop along Chef-Mentor Highway.
And they opened up on the car with semi-automatic weapons. The young woman who was in the car with her was killed. She was shot in the head and the face.
This comes the same week New Orleans was declared murder capital of the United States, having more murders per capita than some of the biggest cities like St. Louis and Atlanta.
The criminals seem to think it's their city, that they can do what they want anytime, anywhere, to anybody.
Just hours later, another person shot at yet another tire shop, this one on North Claiborne in Tremay. Owners say 59-year-old Clayton Thornton was an overnight manager, working his shift when an altercation happened at the location. He was hit, dying on the scene. Coincidentally, one of Abed Bader's other workers was shot back in May at the same shop.
So many people walk with guns. What's going on? I mean, every customer's come to the tire shop, carry the machine gun, carry the gun. And this is too much to take.
And for our elected officials trying their best to be the change in their communities, more needs to be done, or else.
It's at everybody's doorstep. We need to come together. The political fighting, the hate on social media. We are our brothers and sisters' keepers. I will not let them make me abandon hope.
Now, Oliver says that the car that his niece was driving in belonged to her boyfriend, believed to be the intended target. And at this time, NOPD does not think that the two shootings are related. With that being said, if you do have any information at all about the two shootings, the one in New Orleans East and the one in Tremay, you're being urged to contact Crime Stoppers at 822-1111. Reporting live from...
Goodbyes are not forever. Goodbyes are not the end. They simply mean I'll miss you until we meet again. Rest in peace, Paige. You will always be loved, always remembered, and never forgotten.